click. Okay, if you're watching the video, we're going to be learning how to do arithmetic problems that involve standard measurements. Now, you're going to have to memorize the measurement conversion chart before you can solve any problems. I mean, by the time you go to maps, you'll need to memorize the conversion chart, because all measurement problems are going to involve you having to convert one measurement item to another. Let's fill in the chart real quick. That way, after class, you can start memorizing. Go to page 7. Go to page 7. All right. In the bottom left corner. Now memorize these conversions so you can switch from one thing to another, and from left to right, right to left. See the conversion chart on the bottom left corner. All right, fill in the blanks here. Now remember, I want you to memorize these items both ways. It's a two-way street. It goes that way and then that way. So 12 inches equals 1 foot. In the chart. I hope you're there, because I have no idea if you heard what I've said. I'm not going to continue till I know that you're in the right spot. Okay, the measurement conversion chart, I'm going to start over. 12 inches equals 1 foot. 3 feet equals 1 yard. 36 inches equals 1 yard. So memorize all the conversion partners from left to right, right to left, and memorize the words in the order of their size: inches, feet, and yards. Inches is smaller than feet, kind of a little bit more, and a yard is more than that. All right, now liquid measurements are 2 pints equals 1 quart. 2 pints equals 1 quart. 4 quarts equal 1 gallon. And 8 pints equal 1 gallon. So pints is the small one, then quarts, then gallons, in order of their size. Be sure to be able to convert any liquid measurement from one to another. Now wait, do the weight. 16 ounces equals 1 pound. 16 ounces equals 1 pound. 1 ton equals 2,000 pounds. The last one, we're not going to do the temperature thing. That's a separate item. Why don't you do me a favor? The last measurement conversion items is 1 ton equals 2,000 pounds, and then a gross equals 144 items. Draw your line right up under there like that, so you know that's the end of the measurement chart. The temperature thing, that's something different. We'll fill that in another time. So the last line in the measurement chart is 1 ton equals 2,000 pounds, and a gross, or 1 gross, equals 144 items. You need to know the definition of a gross because it's used on the test. And a gross does not convert to any other measurement item. It's a straight up definition. The other measurement words have a conversion, have a partner. Okay? Have a partner. You're going to have to know how to convert one to the other. Measurement problems require you to convert one measurement to another. Okay, now here's basically how measurement problems work. They'll be in a story, they're going to have 2 measurement words in the story. Both of the words will be involved the same subject or category. There's 3 categories in the chart. One is length, and one is liquids, and one is weight. So you got inches, feet, and yards, pints, quarts, and gallons, and ounces, pounds, and tons. That's how it works. All right, so what we're going to have to do, the reason the conversion chart is so critical is, in order to solve a measurement problem, we're going to have to convert one of the measurement words in the story to be the same as the other. There will always be 2 measurement words. Both of them will be in the same category, but one of them is the boss of the problem. So Turn to page 11, okay? Turn to page 11. Page 11 is measurement problems in rectangles. We're just gonna look at the measurement part, okay? What I'm gonna do item 2. Did you say what?
I say yes, sir.
Thank you. I want you to read item 2 and watch what I do. Okay. I would ask you, what did I do? And then somebody will say I divided. Of course I divided, but what did I accomplish?
I mean,
Turn the mic off. So some of y'all don't
it was in our thinking that it's not.
ain't that something? Now I had to turn all the microphones off because some of y'all don't know how to stop making noise. All right. So yeah, unfortunately I got to do that, Maria. Some people are just insane, have lost their mind. They come from another planet. All right. So what have I accomplished here? You need to see if you can figure out what I did. 40 ounces is in the story. I divided by 16. You gotta figure out what's that number mean. Why did I use the number 16? Because I like it or something? It's for a reason you need to know. And then I took 40 divided by 16. I got 2.5. Well, what's 2.5? What? 2.5 cows, 2.5 sandwiches, or what? Okay. Okay. The number 16 represents the number of ounces in a pound. So if I take 40 ounces divided by 16 ounces, I get 2.5 pounds. Thank you, Martinez. 2.5 pounds. Okay. So I converted 40 ounces. I'll put a little OZ here so we know. It's in the story. This is all elementary school, by the way. You multiply and divide, all this is multiply and divide, 4th grade. So take 40 ounces and divide by 16 ounces to find out how many pounds of shrimp we bought. Now we need to know why why did we need to convert 40 ounces into pounds? Well, the question in number 2 says, how much will you pay for the shrimp? So it's kind of like when you buy gasoline at a gas station. How much will you pay? It depends on how many gallons you bought when it comes to gasoline. When you buy gasoline at the gas station, it's all based on how much did you pay? It's based on how many gallons. So in our story here, the price of the shrimp is based on pounds because it says in the first sentence, shrimp costs $12 per pound. So 40 ounces don't help tell us anything to calculate the price. We need to know the pounds, just like the gas pump is programmed to measure the gallons. Cool. So in this grocery store, they will charge you, or how much you pay will be based on the pounds you bought. So it did say you buy 40 ounces, and that's cool. There ain't nothing wrong with that. But you can't calculate the price for that. You got to convert the ounces into pounds. So the question, or what's going on in the question, or what the question involves in this story, tells you which measurement word is critical, or which one is the boss. Pounds is the boss in this story because it tells you how much you pay. Okay, you gotta know how many pounds you bought in order to calculate the price. Just like what measurement word is the boss when you buy gasoline in a gas station? Gallons. Okay, very good. Pounds is the boss. Why? Because the question dealt with the activity of paying for the shrimp. So the activity or the item in the question, I'm telling y'all stuff's important. The activity or the item in the question tells you what measurement word is the boss. So here the activity is page 11. Page 11, item 2. The activity in number 2 is actually paying for or buying some shrimp in a grocery store. So you got to say, well, what measurement word is critical to calculate that or figure that out? Well, pounds, because it says shrimp costs $12 per pound. Measurement problems can be easy when you use what they tell you. Okay. Let's look at another one where they ask you about an item or an activity. How about number 4? Look at question 4. The question says, how many boards are in the stack? Oh, by the way, in almost every measurement problem, the question will begin with the word how. So number 4, how many boards are in the stack? So in problem 2, the activity was paying for the shrimp. And what measurement word applies to paying for shrimp in that story? Pounds. That means pounds was the boss. In question 4, that the item in the question, remember, the activity in the question or the item is critical. So the item in the question is the boards. And so in item question 4, the boards are measured in inches because it says so. Oh, I hope you'll figure out that 90% of measurement problems is free stuff in the story. All you got to do is convert and do one more math problem, 2 math problems. So the item in the question in number 4 is the boards. It plainly says how many boards are in the stack. So what are they asking us about? Asking about the number of boards, right? So then you got to say, well, the boss of that problem will be whatever measurement word is applied to the boards. Well, the second sentence says each board is 4 inches thick. So the measurement word that's applied to the item is the boss, B-O-S-S. Inches is the boss of this story. So we're going to have to convert the feet into inches. Because got to convert the feet into inches because inches is the boss of this story. How do we know it's the boss? Because it's the measurement word applied to the item in the question. So we're going to take 6 feet. And now if we know our measurement chart, we would, once you learn it, you'll know there's 12 inches in a foot. So 6 feet times 12 will be 72 inches. Now, how many boards are in the stack? You're going to say divide by how big is the board? 4 inches, huh? How many times will 4 go into 72? Be 18. So it's all you're doing is some basic steps. Identify the what the boss is. Okay, and then convert the other measurement word to the boss. So in this story, the item in the question was boards. How many boards? How many boards? How many boards? The board. They're not asking you anything about a measurement. They're asking you how many boards. Ain't that right? You need to see that. They're not asking you about feet or inches. They're asking about an item, boards. So you say, so how was the boards measured in the story? It says each board is 4 inches thick. So you say 6 feet times 12. Why 12? Because 12 inches in a foot gives you 72 inches. And then divide by a 4-inch board, you'll get 18 boards. 18 boards. Okay. Very good. So see how 2 and 4 are essentially the same kind of problem. They're asking you about an activity or an item. Okay. Number 5, ask about an item. Let's do that. And now there's another way to figure out what measurement word is the boss. But first, let's master this one. So sometimes they'll ask you about an item or an activity. So number 5 says floorboards are 2 inches wide. Then it says how many are needed. You don't need to read anything else. Just stay with me. How many are needed? So what are they asking about when they say how many? They ask about the floorboards, right? It says floorboards are 2 inches wide. Then it says how many are needed. How many floorboards do you need? All right, so that's the item they're asking about. Then you say, okay, question mark. How were the floorboards measured? They're measured in inches. So inches is the boss. Why? Because the item they're asking us about is measured in inches. So now we got to convert 17 feet into inches. Take 17 and multiply by how many inches in a foot? Be 12, right? And that equal 204. So now the floor is 17 feet, but we converted it into inches. Why? Because the item they're asking us about when they say how many are needed is how many boards or floorboards. So now we'll take the inches in the floor and divide by the inches in one board, which is 2, huh? That's all it is. Look at there, you get an answer of 102. So take the inches in the floor, divide by the number of inches in one board, divide, you'll get 102 boards. So very similar. 4 and 5 are almost the exact same thing. How many boards is in the stack? And we'll calculate the inches in the stack. In number 4, you get 72 inches. Then divide by 4, which is one board. In the other one, number 5, you calculate the inches in the floor, which is 17 times 12 equal 204. Then you divide by the inches in one board. Oh, it's smooth, ain't it? Now, there's 3 problems where the final question asks us about an item or an activity. And I want you to pay attention to this. In the final question part, which, by the way, always begins with the word how, there's no measurement word. They're not asking about a measurement word. They're asking about items and things and activity. In number 2, it says, how much will you pay? Number 4 says, how many boards? Number 5 says, how many floorboards? So all 3 of them asking about either an activity or a thing. And there's no measurement word in the final question. But we figured out which measurement word was the boss. Why? Because the measurement word in the story that's applied to the item they ask about is the boss. All right. So that's probably about half the measurement problems work that way. They'll ask you about how many things you have or how many pieces, how many items. So don't you see the similarity between 2, 4, and 5? How much will you pay? How many boards is in the stack? How many boards is in the floor? Okay, so they're asking about activities and items. That's one way to find the boss. Okay. The second way to figure out the boss measurement word, Now, the second way I'm going to tell you to find the boss measurement word. I hope you understand. You got to locate which measurement word is the boss first. We can't do anything till we know who the boss is or which one is the boss, and then we convert the other measurement word to be the same as the boss. But I'll be honest with you, the first place to check the steps you could go through is this. Go to the final, after you read the whole story, then go back to the question part that begins with the word how. And then I want you to look and see. Now follow these steps to be real easy. You'll go back and read the final question that begins with the word how. Some people get confused on AR problems. Like, for example, in number 2, it says shrimp costs $12 a pound. You need to understand, when I say the question, I'm not talking about that. That's not a question. That's a sentence. I'm talking about the question begins with the word how. So after you read a measurement problem, if you'll go back to the final question, read the final question, and this is good steps to follow. Okay, you read that final question, it says how many, blah, 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 okay? if there is a measurement word in the question, it will be the boss. If there's not a measurement word, then the item or the activity in the question will be the boss. So we just learned how to detect the item or the activity, didn't we? In item 2, 4, and 5. Because it says how many boards are there in the stack. So, but look for the measurement word first in the final question. So if there is a measurement word, it will be the boss. And if there's not a measurement word, then the item or the activity in the question will be the boss. Cool? Or it will tell you what the boss measurement word is. Okay, I hope you understand what we did in 2, 4, and 5. I have this hoping that you did. Okay, now, let's look at the other way to find the boss. As a matter of fact, this way I'm showing you should be the first place to look. It should be to use this one first. So what is it? If there is a measurement word in, no, let me rephrase it. If they ask you about a measurement word, if this measurement word is in the question part of the story that begins with the word how, that measurement word will be the boss. By the way, once you learn to do this, and you know the conversion chart really, really, really super good, not flunky ass good, but really good, and you can figure out who the boss is fairly quick. And if you're able to multiply and divide, you can do any measurement problem in less than a minute. That's straight up truth. You can do any measurement problem in a minute or less. All you gotta do is figure out which one is the boss, convert the other measurement word to be the same as the boss, and then go back and check the final question and do one more math problem. So let's look at a sample of where they ask us about a measurement word. By the way, in item 2, in the question, did they ask you anything about a measurement word? Nope. They just said how much you're gonna pay for the shrimp, right? In number 4, did the question ask anything about a measurement? No, it said how many boards do you have? In number 5, did the question ask anything about a measurement word? No, it said in number 5, how many are needed? How many floorboards are needed? All right, so now go to page 20, I think. No, I'm sorry, 21. Go to page 21. I want to show you a sample. Then we're going to go back to page 11 in just a second. Go to page 21, please. Page 21. Most people struggle with measurement problems at first, but once, and there's several little things you got to learn, but once you can figure out who the boss is, and I'm showing you exactly how to do that. Any first grader can do it once they learn. I'm showing you how to figure out the boss, and then once you learn your measurement conversion chart, you got it. Measurement problem will be super easy. And they're a major ASVAB AR problem. So page 21, we're going to look at a question where they ask you about a measurement word. Look at item 8. Look at item 8. Item 8 says, how many 3-inch pieces? Don't read nothing else. Just stop right there. How many 3-inch pieces? They're asking you about inches, aren't they? Inches is applied to the final question. So now that means inches is the boss. So now I'm going to take 5 yards and convert it into inches. So you say, well, how many inches in 1 yard? You know your chart, you know, it's 36, right? 36 inches in 1 yard. Multiply that times 5 yards, you'll get 180 inches. And the word cut always means divide, don't it? So you take that 180 and divide by 3, because it's telling you to cut or divide 180 inches into 3-inch pieces and be 60, won't it? So look, when the question says how many 3-inch pieces, that tells you that inches is the boss, because that's the exact measurement word they're asking about. Right there in the question, it begins with the word how. You say, so I need to convert the 5 yards into inches. And you say, I know my conversion chart. You say, I know there's 36 inches in 1 yard times 5 yards equals 180 inches. And take your scissors, your mathematical scissors, and cut it or divide it by 3. 180 divided by 3, 60 pieces. How many pieces? Very good. Excellent. Hope you understand. Go back to page 11. Page 11. Page 11. Where am I? Oh, I'm lost. Page 11. Okay. So let's see. Let's look at some sample questions where it asks us in the question is a measurement word. And if it's in the question part, it'll be the boss. So let's see. Let's think about number 3, page 11, item 3. Let's do this step by step. Nice and slow. There's no hurry. And it says in number 3, how many 5-inch pieces? Bam. Inches is the boss. Because it's right there in the question. They're asking you something regarding inches. How many 5-inch pieces? Stop and say, okay, inches is the boss. Then you say, I need to convert 4 feet into inches. You come over here and you say, okay, 12 inches in a foot times 4 feet equals 48 inches. So that 4-foot board we now is 48 inches. Same size board, same size, just using a different measurement word. So we're going to take the 48 inches and it says cut. So we're going to divide it by 5. 5 are going to 48 9 times. 5 times 9 is 45. We have a little remainder, but that don't count. So 9 will be our final answer. Okay? Because it said how many 5-inch pieces, whole pieces, 5 inches, not a little tiny leftover piece. That remainder, we just forget about it because it ain't the whole piece. How many 5-inch pieces? 9 be the final answer. Now you tell me right now, by the time you go to math, you should be an expert at this. We've already done item 2 and 4 and 5. Now, number 3, how many 5-inch pieces can you cut? You say, well, I need to convert the 4-foot board into inches. 12 inches in a foot. 12 times 4 makes 48 inches. You need to understand that 48-inch board, to me, right like this, that 48 inches board is the same size as the 4-foot board. They're both the same exact size. They're just described differently. Like a man is the same as a guy or a boy or a dude, whatever. Lots of things describe things. In the world of measurements, it happens all the time. 4 quarters is $1. 10 dimes is $1. 100 pennies, 20 nickels. It's all the same thing. So they're equal. But the question here is asking about how many 5-inch pieces can we cut. So we need to convert that 4-foot board into inches. Multiply by 12. Get 48 inches and cut means divide. Kiss my grits. It's too easy. I'm starting to think I might be able to do this thing. Look at there, y'all. Ain't nothing to it. You can't overcomplicate it now. You got to just pay attention to what they say. Just roll with it. Okay, let's see. And then what about the cloth? How many 3-inch pieces can you cut? The word inches was right there in the question. The word inches is what they ask us about. It said how many 3-inch pieces. All right. Very good. Now what you want to do is you want to review the problems that we just did together. I'm telling this to everybody, keep recording. You want to review item 2 and 3, 4, and 5. And then the other one on page 21, item 8. So those are your foundation. You want to understand what happened there. And number 2, you want to know, why did I convert the 40 ounces into pounds? Then you want to know, well, how do you do that? You take the 40 ounces, divide by 16. Why do you divide by 16? You want, these are all the things you need to know. You need to know what you're doing and why and how, okay? Say, well, why am I dividing 16? Because 16 ounces makes 1 pound. You say, well, why do I need to convert 40 ounces into pounds? Because the question said, how much you gonna pay for the shrimp? And the story said, when you buy shrimp in that grocery store, it's based on the pounds. Very good. So item 2, 3, 4, 5 on that page, and item 8 on page 21. That's your good solid foundation. Then got some new problem for you to try in a study group or on your own or with your partner, any way you want. These are some additional problems. But your foundation lesson is page 11, item 2, 3, 4, 5, and page 21, item 8. Now, on page 11, why don't we try number 7? Not now, we could do this at the end after I leave. And number 10, 11. That's good enough. So the original is page 11, item 2, 3, 4, 5, and page 21, item 8. You should be making a note of that. And then on page 11, you can see what you can do with item 7, 10, and 11. And y'all make sure, after I leave, make sure everybody's got the measurement chart filled in. And you're going to need to memorize that, okay? It's a 2-part. You got to know the fundamental steps of doing a measurement problem, which is what we've been talking about. And you need to know the conversion chart. You got 2 little subjects to study. Okay? I'll hit pause real quick. Okay, good point, Maria. Everybody look on the bottom right corner of page 11. Now, what we're going to talk about on page 11 is just to get you started. After you get familiar with the measurement chart and you quickly recognize or know which measurement word is small and large, anytime you got 2 measurement words, you need to figure out which one is big, which one's small between the 2. And all that will be quick and easy after a little study. At first, it might be a little slow. So I made this conversion rule up to help you get started. But after you get smooth and memorize the chart, in other words, when it comes to recognizing small and large, if I were to call out any 2 measurement words, you would need to be able to know which one is small and which one is big in between the 2. That comes with time, and it don't take long at all. There's some advanced people that, if I call out 2 measurement words right now, a lot of people tell me quickly within 2 seconds which one of them is a small word or the small item, you might say, and which one's big. Like if I said feet and yards, feet small, inches big. If I said pounds and ounces, ounces is smaller, pounds is bigger. So when you see 2 measurement words, you'll need to know which one's large, which one not. So to help you get started, item 13 tells you the conversion rule. So when you go from a small word, like say inches, to convert to a large word, say like feet. This is an example. So if we got 48 inches, and we need to convert it to feet, item 13, go down to the bottom right corner, page 11, item 13. So when we convert, and let's see, we understand that inches is small, feet is larger when you compare the 2. All right, so you can go from a small word to a large word. You're going to, well, tell me, what would we do here? Take 48 and divide by 12. So fill in the word divide there in that blank. When you convert from a small measurement word to a large measurement word, you're always going to divide. So we'll take the 48 inches divided by 12, and that gives you 4 feet. So in item 2, we took 40 ounces and converted it into pounds. That's why we divided by 16. So don't worry about the numbers, just pay attention to the math. So when you convert from a small measurement word to a large word, you're going to divide. Cool. We're going to divide. Convert from a large word to small. I mean, excuse me. I'm sorry, small to large. So that's why, as I said, 48 inches, divide by 4, excuse me. 48 inches divided by 12 inches gives you 4 feet. 40 ounces divided by 16 gives you 2.5 pounds. So ounces is small, pounds is bigger. Always divide. And then the other is obvious. When you convert from a large word to a small, you're going to multiply. So earlier in problem number 4, we took the 6 feet and converted it into inches. So we went from large to small. 6 feet to inches, you're going to multiply, right? 6 times 12 equals 72 inches. The one about the cloth, we took 5 yards and converted it into inches. That's a large word converted to a small word. So we're going to multiply when we go from large to small. So we'll multiply 5 times what? The number of inches in a yard, huh? And we know that from our measurement chart. Equals 180. All right, very good. But after you do this a few times, you'll figure out you'll know when to multiply and divide quick and easy. But knowing the rule there in 13 is a great way to get started. Okay, so I'm gonna stop the video now. It's important that you redo Video Watcher and Live People. You need to redo all the problems we did together and understand what you're doing and why, every bit of it. And so with problem 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7, and the one on the other page, on page 21, that gives you a good foundation. And also, I want you to do item 10 and 11 on this page. That teaches some good stuff. All right, that's the end of the video lesson.